I used to be the kind of guy who second-guessed everything. Every conversation, every interaction. I was always inside my own head, overanalyzing. Did I say anything weird? Do they think I'm awkward? Should I have laughed at that joke? And honestly, it made socializing feel like a task, rather than something natural. And it was so deeply programmed in me, I didn't even realize that was draining me. But then I joined the military. And somewhere between the training, the sleepless nights, and the constant pressure, I stopped caring. Like, not in a careless way, but in a freeing way. I stopped overanalyzing. I stopped being so self-conscious all the time. And for the first time in my life, I felt comfortable being myself. The military didn't just teach me discipline or resilience, it rewired the way I see the world, the way I connect with people, and the way I carry myself every single day. Before the military, I cared too much about how people saw me. I spent so much time in front of the mirror just to make sure that my hair was just right. I'd rehearse conversations in my head before talking to someone, and I'd always worry about whether people liked me. And I was just caught up in the cycle of needing to be just right in social situations. But when I went to the military, it stripped all of that away. When you're in the boot camp, no one cares about how you look or sound. Your hair is shaved, you're wearing the same uniform as everyone else, and you're all thrown into this physically and mentally exhausting environment. So you don't really have any time to think about looking cool or sounding smart. All that matters is getting through the day, working as a unit, and just following orders. You don't even have a name. You get this roster number, and the feeling that you get when you're addressed as a number is such a freeing feeling. It just feels like all of a sudden you're starting a new life with a new identity, but with all the knowledge that you have from your previous life experiences. So now you have the choice to rebrand yourself from your older version, which means that you really have the chance to be yourself. And that's how I saw it. And at first, it was uncomfortable. I didn't really like it. Hair all shaved, kind of skinny with all the training uniform, and I didn't really look good. But then I'd look around and realize that everyone looks ridiculous. Everyone. And if I'm just a number anyway, who's gonna care about it? So I was like, let me just truly be myself. If everyone's running on no sleep, they're all sweating, they're exhausted, and they're all just out there trying to survive, why do I have to care about how I look and how I sound? It's the ultimate equalizer. And when you realize that no one is judging you because they're too busy dealing with their own struggles, you start to let go of all those unnecessary insecurities. And that's what I learned from the military, and even when I came back out to the society, I felt the same way. No one will care about it. If I look dumb, if I sound weird, people will look at me and they might sometimes be like, oh, what an idiot. Who cares? They'll forget about me 10 seconds later. So just like that, in the military, I started talking to people without filtering every single word that left my mouth. I started laughing without worrying if it was too loud or too weird. And that was one of the most freeing feelings that I've had. And before the military, I never really felt like I belonged to somewhere greater. So I always had my guard up. I kind of believed that if I let people in too much, that someday use that against me. But I believed this in an extreme way, so I never really opened myself up easily to other people. I think I was so convinced that being vulnerable meant that I was just being weak. So I always kept people at a distance, never really opening up. But then when I stepped into the boot camp, I was suddenly thrown into this environment where I had to rely on everyone else for everything. So we suffer together, we win together, and no matter how different our backgrounds are, we build this unspoken bond. So you don't even have to say anything, just knowing that the person next to you is going through the same thing, same difficulty that you're going through, which makes you kind of trust them in a way that you never really expected. And that sense of camaraderie is something that I've never really experienced before. And that made me realize how much I had been missing out on by always keeping people at a distance. And that makes you learn how to be vulnerable in different moments. Before I went to the military, I hated showing emotions. If I thought I admitted that I was just kind of struggling, then people would see me as a weak person, and that would make me look undesirable or just kind of be unliked by everyone. So eventually, I bottled everything up. No one ever really knew what was going on inside my head because I just refused to let them in. But when you're in the military, you don't always have the luxury to pretend like you're fine all the time. There are moments where you break, where you're so mentally and physically drained that you can't really put on a tough front anymore. And when that happens, you realize that you're not the only one. When I was in the boot camp, I remember talking to my roommate, my battle buddy, I would say, and we would just talk about all the traumas that we had, moments when we feel mentally challenged, and all those things that we wouldn't really share to other people and talk about easily anywhere else. And when you open yourself up to someone, you kind of get this feeling of freedom where you kind of get to learn how to be more vulnerable in different moments, and it's okay to share more about yourself that not many other people know. If you feel that it's the right thing to do to some people, at that time where you really care about that person and they care about you as well, it's okay to share parts of yourself that explains who you are as a person, those experiences that shaped you into the person that you are right now. And there were nights where we just sit together and talk about life, about our fears, about the things that we've never admitted to anyone else. And for the first time, I didn't really feel weak for opening up. I felt human. I felt understood. I stopped being afraid to tell other people how I truly feel. I started expressing how I felt instead of just bottling it up. And the connections that I felt after that felt more deeper and more genuine. Just because I let myself finally be real with the people around me. When I look back, I realized that military taught me a lot of different things, but it really taught me how to be myself. It taught me to stop overthinking every interaction, to let go of my insecurities, to trust other people, and to kind of be okay with showing vulnerability. It took me stepping into one of the most challenging environments of my life to realize that I didn't have to pretend like someone that I wasn't. That being myself was enough, and I carry that lesson with me every single day. If you're struggling with feeling awkward, overthinking everything, and being afraid to let people in, just know that I understand. I get it. And while you don't need the military to learn these lessons, I hope my experiences can remind you that sometimes letting go is the best thing that you can do for yourself. Because at the end of the day, life isn't really about looking perfect. It's really about showing up as you, and when you do that, a lot of things change. I love talking about military with passion because I truly believe that was like the moment in my life where I changed for the better, because I didn't really know the world. I didn't know how to interact with other people. Going to the military kind of reminded me that a lot of people are going through the same thing that I'm going through. Each one of them is very unique. They have their own inspiring story. So military taught me everything. Even if it seems like I didn't do something so great that saved my country, I still served my time and went through all those struggles with people along the way. So I'm very proud. I'm very happy that I went to the military. For Korean guys, because it's mandatory, it's something that is always subconsciously there in their minds since a young age, because you know that someday you'll have to go and serve in the military, and you always kind of delay that thought because it's stressful. You don't really want to forcefully go somewhere where you don't even know, meet strangers, and be forced to adapt in this environment that you don't want to be in. But when you actually go and really make up your mind to make the best out of it, I think it can be one of those times that can change your whole life, that can transform you into a better person who's more resilient and who's more patient, who's more confident. You can spend such a meaningful time in there if you make it to be. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. It always feels refreshing to talk about the military. I hope you're doing well wherever you are, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.